It's day 3. The cracks were there on day 1, you saw them. Day 2, the comfort, the illusion of control, it crumbled. But now on day 3, reality comes crashing down and it's not pretty. Here's the harsh truth. Everything you thought you could count on, all the gear, gadgets and supposed solutions, they might just be the very things that fail you. This is where it gets real. The conveniences that once made you feel prepared, they're about to be exposed. And when they fall apart, the consequences are more than frustrating. They're life-threatening. Can you imagine relying on something and at the moment of need it collapses? This is where survival stops being a fantasy and turns into a fight. Today we're breaking down the 10 critical things that will betray you when the grid goes down. Trust me when I say, point 7 is an absolute game changer. It's the one mistake almost everyone makes and it could cost you everything. Are you ready to face what's coming? Because now it's not about what works, it's about what doesn't. Buckle up, this is survival without a safety net. 1. The refrigerator trap. Your refrigerator, the pride of your kitchen, has been a lifeline for your family. Shiny doors, sleek ice dispenser, digital temperature controls, it was the symbol of modern convenience. But on day 3 of the blackout, that lifeline becomes a liability in the cruelest way possible. At first it's subtle. The milk turns sour. The odor hits you the second you crack open the door. Yogurt, once creamy and fresh, now curdles in its container. Cheese, sweating, soft, and teetering on the brink of disaster. By now, your freezer isn't faring any better. Carefully stashed meats, fruits, and emergency veggies, what you thought were your salvation, are thawing fast with blood pooling and bacteria ready to pounce. Most refrigerators and freezers, even when unopened, protect food for just 24-48 hours. After that, they become slow ovens of decay. And here's the real kicker. A summer heat wave shortens that clock even more, leaving you not with a stocked food supply, but with a heaping rancid pile of waste. You might think, I'll just cook it all. But how? With no electricity, the microwave, electric stove, and oven are useless. Unless you've got a propane grill and a bottomless fuel supply, that food is as good as gone. The emotional blow is overwhelming. Watching all your food, all the money you spent, and all the effort you put into prepping spoil in front of your eyes, it's crushing. And reality hits hard. This isn't just about losing the contents of your fridge. It's about losing your plan, your trust in what you thought was a safety net. Modern refrigerators were designed for a world where the grid is always on. But when that world collapses, they're among the first to betray you. Their failure forces a shift in focus from trying to save what's lost to figuring out how to survive without them altogether. And most people, frankly, don't have the answer. 2. The solar mirage. Solar panels on your roof, your beacon of independence. You thought you were one step ahead, harnessing the sun's endless power while the world scrambled. Day 1, you even felt a little smug as the lights flickered off around you. Little did you know you were standing on the edge of an energy mirage, and its illusion would come crashing down on day 3. Here's the hidden truth most solar owners don't realize until the grid goes dark. Unless you've invested in a battery bank or an off-grid inverter, your shiny rooftop panels are nothing more than silent symbols of wasted potential. Most residential systems are grid-tied, meaning they depend on the main power system to operate. During a blackout, these systems automatically shut down to protect line workers from accidental electrocution. No grid, no power, even if your roof is brimming with sunlight. The cruel irony is unbearable. You step outside on this 3rd day, staring up at those panels that promise freedom, and they're doing absolutely nothing while everything around you falls apart. Your flashlight and radio batteries dead. Your phone, useless. The ultimate betrayal is staring you in the face. A $15,000 investment that might as well be a roof ornament. Even those with battery storage aren't off the hook. Small lithium setups might give you a few hours of light or recharge your devices once or twice, but they're no match for a 3-day blackout. And with every passing cloudy day, your system's ability to recharge dwindles even further. Without robust storage, solar panels are no solution at all. They're a false sense of security masquerading as resilience. To survive the grid's collapse, solar must be part of a larger hybrid strategy. That means off-grid capabilities, solar charge controllers, backup generators, and thoughtful conservation of energy. But here's the brutal truth. Most homeowners who invest in solar don't have that. They bought the dream, not the infrastructure. And when the power stops, the dream dies with it. 3. The gas generator gamble. The gas generator. On day 1, it was your hero. The purr of the engine was a reassuring hum of normalcy amid chaos. That hum brought light to your home, powered your fridge, and maybe even gave you a pot of hot coffee when nothing else could. But by day 3, its tune has changed, and the reality of relying on one becomes impossible to ignore. Gas generators are marvels of convenience, but predators of fuel. They consume gasoline at rates that most people completely underestimate. What seemed like a stockpile of jerry cans stacked neatly in your garage is quickly reduced to empty containers. And just like that, the generator goes silent. Not because it's broken, but because you didn't anticipate how much fuel it takes to keep one running. Let's get real. Gas generators are short-term fixes, not long-term solutions. They're loud, needy, and relentlessly hungry for a resource you might not have prepared to store properly. Gasoline doesn't last forever. Without proper additives and rotation, it spoils before it can even see use. And assuming you'll just refill, bad news. Gas stations need power to pump. Delivery trucks are grounded. Unless you thought ahead, your lifeline is gone. Even worse, the sound of a running generator is a beacon, a signal to the world that you've got resources. On day 1 or 2, that might not seem like a problem. By day 3, neighborhoods are eerily quiet, and that distinct hum becomes an invitation for desperate neighbors or opportunistic looters. If you don't have a plan to defend your generator 24/7, the risks may outweigh the rewards. Gas generators will always be a gamble. Without ample fuel reserves and strict plans for efficiency, what seemed like a survival essential becomes a stranded relic of an unprepared plan. The lesson here is sobering. Don't rely on them unless you're fully committed to their care, noise, and unrelenting appetite. 4. The mirage of digital wealth. Swipe, tap, or click. It's how we've all operated for years. Groceries, gas, and even coffee shops are at your fingertips, until the grid collapses. On day 3, the system you thought was infallible is already failing you. And those plastic cards in your wallet? Useless. Picture yourself walking into a shop desperate for basic supplies. You confidently pull out your credit card, only to see the grim expression of the clerk. If the store is even open, they're likely operating on cash and little else. POS terminals need power. Without it, your Visa, MasterCard, or bank app balance might as well be a blank piece of paper. Your money, no matter how much you thought you had, is trapped in a digital vault you can't access. Even ATMs are quiet, their screens dark, their inner vaults sealed shut by the power outage. And it doesn't stop there. Many have turned to the illusion of digital currencies, thinking this technology was their ticket to independence. But try offering crypto in a cash-starved world. Eggs, water, medicine. Nobody's going to trade tangible survival essentials for something they can't immediately use. Bitcoin isn't feeding anyone's family when Wi-Fi is no longer an option. Even people holding on to cash are on shaky ground. Sure, it works now. But what happens when small bills run out, or the value of money begins to erode? Imagine flashing a $100 bill to buy a gallon of water, only to hear, "Sorry, I don't have change." What will matter in the days to come are not numbers on a screen, flashy bank balances, or even paper bills, but tangible tradable assets: food, water, medicine. This failure isn't just about broken systems. It's a rude awakening to how dependent we've all become on an infrastructure that crumbles when the lights go out. The wealth you thought was safe evaporates. Now survival demands adaptation. Forget swiping a card or pressing a PIN code. It's time to rethink trade, resources, and what real wealth looks like in a world where digital means nothing. 5. The smartphone silence. Take a second and think about your smartphone. Not for what it is, but for what it used to do for you. It was your navigator, your news hub, and your emergency survival guide all rolled into one. Now on day 3 of the blackout, it's just a lifeless slab of glass that mocks you every time you try to turn it on. The outage started slowly. On day 1, you casually checked your battery. 60%. This should last, you thought. But the text slowed, then stopped entirely. Cell towers were overloaded, connections dropped, no Wi-Fi, no data. And on day 3, the screen stays black no matter how hard you press the power button. It's not just the battery or connectivity that's gone, it's the crushing realization of how reliant you were on this device for everything. Mom's number? Not memorized. Directions to a nearby water source? You used to just Google it. Need to check a survival tip for making an emergency fire or purifying water? That guide was saved to your app, a digital treasure chest, now locked indefinitely. And don't even get your hopes up about those solar chargers you bought online. They charge slower than paint dries in perfect weather. Toss in 3 days of cloud cover or rain, and they're practically decorative. The deeper loss isn't just functionality, it's psychological. Everything feels colder, more silent, and infinitely lonelier without your digital lifeline. The tool you once used to grasp some sense of control now amplifies how far out of reach everything has become. People thrive on connection. Texts, notifications, likes, and calls provided a sense of community and reassurance. The moment that tether breaks, the isolation creeps in. The silence feels deafening, almost like a void swallowing your sense of security. Your smartphone, once the most vital piece of gear in your pocket, betrays you when you need it most. 6. The EV illusion. Your electric vehicle, the epitome of innovation. No gas stations needed, no emissions. A sleek symbol of the future. But innovation doesn't mean survival. On day 3 of the blackout, your EV has become one of the grid's most expensive casualties. When the outage began, you didn't worry. Your Tesla or Nissan Leaf still had some charge left. and you planned to ration it cautiously. You told yourself the power would return. Surely by day 2, everything would be back to normal, right? Then day 3 hit like a wake-up call. The grid's still down. Your driveway charger, a useless wall ornament. Public charging stations, offline, their once reliable status screens now eerily blank. The painful truth of EVs becomes clearer than ever. They're shackled to the grid. Without power, they can't function. Sure, you could try a solar charger, but good luck finding one in working order after desperate crowds descended like vultures on them days earlier. And cloudy weather? Forget about it. Even for those lucky enough to have a home solar system with battery storage, the transfer of energy is painfully slow and limited. By now, you've come to terms with the cruel irony that in an all-electric car, you're immobilized in an instant. As the fuel-driven cars in your neighborhood start up noisy but mobile, you're left questioning every decision. You can't siphon power into your EV. You can't tweak a component to kickstart the engine. Once the battery runs dead, your vehicle is little more than a high-tech sculpture collecting dust in your garage. Now when it's time to evacuate, you're stuck. You realize that the ultimate betrayal isn't just from the car itself, but from the promises sold to you, the assumptions that the grid was indestructible and energy would always be available. EVs are brilliant when everything works, but when the grid collapses, even the future struggles to survive. 7. The water filter paradox. Investing in a top-of-the-line water filtration system felt like the ultimate preparedness move. You spent hours researching, comparing products online, and watching prepper reviews until you landed on the perfect system. Gravity-fed, capable of purifying almost any water source, and promising the peace of mind you craved. You thought you had it all figured out, but now it's day 3 of the blackout. Taps are bone dry and you've run headfirst into the harsh reality no one prepared you for. Your prized water purifier is useless, not because it doesn't work, but because you never planned for what happens when there's no water left to filter. Did you store enough ahead of time? Did you set up multiple rain barrels or calculate how much your family would actually need daily? Drinking, cooking, hygiene, these add up faster than you imagined. What about your pets? Without a reliable source, even the best filter sits idle, mocking you amidst the growing desperation. The rain barrel you cobbled together last year? Full of sludge. Your backup stores in forgotten containers? Depleted too quickly. And the nearby stream you counted on? Everyone else tapped into it before you even realized it was going dry. Dehydration creeps in slowly at first, a dry mouth, a nagging headache, but it doesn't take long for things to spiral. Muscle cramps, dizziness, confusion. Before you know it, you're battling physical and psychological challenges that no amount of gear can fix. The cruel irony is unmistakable. You planned to purify murky puddles, but skipped the part where you ensured water was reachable in the first place. Water filters are tools, not saviors. Treating them as your sole solution instead of part of a broader plan is a fatal oversight. Without a sustainable water source, even the best tech becomes nothing but wasted hope. 8. The myth of government rescue. We've got a plan, they said. Emergency alerts, disaster drills, FEMA brochures, each packaged as assurances that if disaster struck, someone would have your back. The truth, by day 3 of the blackout, it becomes painfully clear that the so-called government plan was never truly for you. Those 911 calls you made, silence. That emergency app promising updates, offline. The trucks or helicopters you thought might roll in to save the day, nowhere in sight. Instead, the once reassuring hum of distant civil services is replaced by an eerie quiet broken only by the buzzing of your own doubts. Here's what they didn't tell you. The system isn't designed to save every household. It's triage, plain and simple. Resources are prioritized for urban centers or critical infrastructure, leaving suburban neighborhoods and small towns to fend for themselves. The flashy graphics and public service announcements were there to pacify, not prepare you. The longer the blackout drags on, the more evident it becomes. Overflowing shelters closing their doors, water distribution stations running out after one morning, neighbors whispering rumors about looted aid trucks. The people who confidently told you help will come are now second-guessing that promise. When hope fades, chaos fills the vacuum. Some in your community rally together, sharing supplies and supporting one another. Others withdraw, turning their homes into fortresses and trusting no one. And while some hold on to the flicker of faith that rescue will arrive, others can't afford that luxury. They're already adapting, acting, surviving. The government's plan wasn't built to save you. From the start, survival was always your responsibility. And now, 3 days in, you're paying the price for believing in a system that was never designed to hold your hand. 9 neighbors turned strangers. Your neighbors' friendly faces you waved to every morning. The ones who helped shovel your driveway or lent you a ladder. They felt like part of your small, trusted community. But by day 3 of the blackout, when desperation takes root, you've realized just how quickly people can change. At first, it's subtle. A knock on the door, someone asking for an extra candle or to borrow a flashlight. Their tone is polite, reasonable, but you catch hints of something else beneath the surface. anxiety, maybe even desperation. You want to help, but the voice in the back of your mind asks, can I really afford to? As resources dwindle and patience runs thin, the shifts become harder to ignore. That neighbor who joined you for weekend barbecues suddenly seems less interested in small talk and more interested in watching your every move, tracking what you have and where you keep it. Every glance feels like an evaluation of your supplies. This isn't paranoia, it's human nature under stress. When shelves are empty and promises of assistance vanish, the neighborly smiles fade fast. Some will cling to decency, others won't. The same people who once invited you over for coffee may now be eyeing your pantry, weighing whether their survival is worth crossing a line they never imagined they would. It's a sobering truth most preppers overlook. The biggest threats don't come from strangers. They come from those closest to you. The people who know your routines, weaknesses, and what might be hiding in your basement. If you haven't thought about this reality, if you haven't solidified boundaries or prepared to defend them, day 3 might be when it all starts unraveling, when trust becomes one more thing in short supply. 10. The silent threat of complacency. The most lethal failure of all isn't your power grid, your neighbors, or even your reliance on modern systems. It's you, your own mind whispering, this won't last, help is coming, things will get back to normal. Complacency is comfortable, deceitful, and by day 3 of the blackout, its consequence is undeniable. Maybe you bought supplies but didn't bother testing them. That generator in your garage hasn't been run in months. Those water barrels you filled last year were never rotated. And that flashlight you were so confident in? Batteries long dead. The pattern reveals itself too late. You thought you'd have time. You figured someone else, a neighbor, the government, sheer fate would bridge the gap between disaster and recovery. But now supplies are dwindling. Your checklist of to-dos is meaningless when you're staring at cold, hard reality with no time left to fix the gaps. Complacency isn't just about lack of action. It's refusing to acknowledge how fragile the system is until it crumbles beneath you. By day 3, the people who planned ahead are pivoting, adapting, reassessing with every passing hour. While you're scrambling, they're surviving. While you're wishing for a do-over, they're 10 steps ahead, conserving, securing, and thinking critically. The harsh truth is survival waits for no one. Comfort is a luxury that evaporates the moment crisis strikes. If you waste precious time hoping for the storm to pass instead of preparing to outlast it, complacency turns into a threat more dangerous than any blackout could be. Survival isn't about luck, it's about action. And if you're not acting now on day 3, it might already be too late. Day 3 is where the cracks in the system turn into chasms that you can no longer ignore. Each failure we've covered, from your fridge turning into a biohazard to your neighbors potentially becoming threats, paints a clear picture of how unprepared most people are when the grid goes down. The convenience of modern life isn't just fragile, it's a trap. And when it collapses, it takes everything you thought you could trust down with it. These aren't hypothetical scenarios. This is what happens when survival shifts from a concept to a cold reality. The tools you thought would save you, useless without a plan. The systems you relied on, designed to fail the moment they're most needed. It's sobering, but that's exactly why it's critical to take this seriously. You can't control when disaster strikes, but you can control how ready you are. Preparation isn't about paranoia, it's about power. It's about ensuring that when the lights go out, you're not scrambling in the dark. Evaluate your gear, diversify your resources, build a mindset that can adapt, and a plan that can endure. Because survival doesn't reward complacency, it rewards action. Right now, you have a choice. You can either learn from these 10 failures today, or you can become one of them tomorrow. When the grid fails, it's not just a blackout, it's a test. There's no retake. There's only one question left to answer. Are you ready?